Shut it down, kid.
Hello and welcome back to the AP Lazer Live. Haven't seen you in a little bit. It's good to see everybody again. I hope you've been enjoying your summer so far. I am joined today, as usual, by my amazing co-host, and really the only reason you people watch this, Alicia Vanderpool. I hope everybody's looking forward to an exciting weekend. What are some of you guys doing for the 4th? I'm already in freedom mode. 4th of July. I'm leaving from here. We're going down to Indianapolis for a big softball tournament with my daughter. She's over there. We might see her later if she can get her face out of the tablet. She's gonna kill me. But today we have some exciting things going on. Would love to hear what you guys are doing for the 4th of July or any special projects you're doing with your laser. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you're a returning family member, thank you for coming back and seeing us again. And if you're just on the fence, not sure what you're going to do yet, hopefully we can give you a little more information today. We are going to have an exciting interview today. We have a special guest today from Build Dad Build, Nick Vespa. We'll get to him in just a few minutes, but Alicia, do you have any big plans for the 4th of July?
Just spending time with the family. That's pretty much it for me. I'm just going to enjoy relaxing for a while. I'm getting ready to move, and I'm just going to enjoy the downtime before then. So,
getting ready to move. There's a lot of that going on. Our special guest today, I'm sure he'll tell us a little bit about his excitement with moving. But I know he's going to be moving soon. He's looking for people to sponsor his house rebuild. So if you're interested in talking to him about that, maybe connect with him offline. Anyways, I don't know. We don't have any major shows going on. I know we're going to be looking at NFDA coming up soon. So if some of you are in our NFDA family down in New Orleans, we hope to see you in the Big Easy.
I will say, I mean, if you're into, looking into the funeral industries, into memorial care, death care, that kind of thing, definitely, that's the show to go to. There's a lot of cool stuff. We're going to be featuring a lot of cool stuff. Our new fiber machines, we're going to be showing off there, I believe. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. But you've got some time to think about it, and book your trips.
We're going to have a strong team down there, and it's a reason to go to New Orleans. I mean, that's a really big show. I used to go to that show a lot. I'm hoping I can go again this year. I don't know if I can, but there's a lot of AP Lazer family members that I haven't seen in a while that I would like to see again. But we'll see if the powers that be will let me go to that. But either way, that's of course the NFDA. That's a big one. It's a National Funeral Directors Association, and New Orleans. I just love New Orleans in general. But anyways,
I think the other big shows coming up. I know we're going to be going to ISA again, ISA. We skipped this last year, but next year going into there. So, I mean, we don't have a ton going on this year, but we're hoping for some nice big shows next year. And we do have a lot going on in our R&D department that is just super exciting. So, as news comes out for that, definitely, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our channel, different things like that. We'll show off some really cool stuff we got going on. But, speaking of really cool stuff, we have, as we said, Nick Vespa of Build Dad Build here. How are you doing?
I am great. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, doing good. So for, people who might not know you, I know we know you very well, obviously. But for people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, your YouTube channel, your projects that you work on, things like that.
So I'm a full-time YouTuber and I guess social media influencer now. I used to work in insurance, and I started a channel. My wife and I found out we were going to have twins, and so I started a channel on YouTube about a dad who was having twins and what that entailed, and it didn't do really well. It didn't take off at all. So, but long story short, we lost our house in Hurricane Harvey, moved into a new house. My wife wanted a little writing desk, and we couldn't find it anywhere. We couldn't find the right dimensions, what she wanted, and I was like, well, I could build that. And so since I've been doing YouTube stuff anyway, I figured I would film it and post it, and I did it, and I was kind of hooked. That video didn't do very good, but just like the process of building stuff. So I went from kind of a family YouTuber to a DIY home improvement YouTuber, and then lasers came later. But I started out with a torch and some pine. I used to do burnt wood finishes. We'll still do, and torch and wood until it's nice and crispy, brushing it off, and then staining it. And getting that kind of that rustic look out of it, and that's how we started. That's where Build Dad Build came from. I used to be Build It Burn It, and then we changed that to Build Dad Build, so it'd be a little bit more all encompassing.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, awesome.
I never asked where the name came from, so that's awesome.
You know, social media origins. They're always unique stories, and I love yours. It's really, I mean, it's awesome that you've kind of started with like, hey, look at my twins, to hey, look what I can make here. It's more than it's, but yeah, it's exciting stuff. What made you decide? How did you first come across AP Lazer? What really got you into lasers? Did you just wake up one day and go, I need a laser in my life, or you know, what really got you started there?
What I needed in my life, I thought, was a CNC. I went from making projects to kind of trying to show how you could make money making projects. And so my thought was, well, if you can personalize things, you sell it for more. So the same guy that's making cutting boards and selling them for $80, if they were personalized with, like, say that person's last name on it or whatever they wanted to be on there, it's an upsell without having to build anything else, right? So let's say you add $30 on it for the personalization. Now you're selling a cutting board for $110 versus $80. So the idea was the CNC. I wasn't really lasers weren't on my radar at that point. And I was just thinking what I would do, because I was working a lot with wood and epoxy. So I was thinking I would laser engrave whatever I wanted on a cutting board or charcuterie board, and then I'd fill it with epoxy. Right. So I was looking around at different CNC machines, and didn't care for them.
It's a different world for sure.
Yeah, it's loud, it's messy. If it's your thing, it's your thing. I know a lot of people that do really cool stuff with CNCs,
right,
but I just wasn't really into it all that much. And I had Ortur reach out to me about a diode laser. And they just wanted to, do an affiliate thing with it. And they sent me a laser, and I was like, well, you know what? This isn't a bad option. And the thing is, it's cheap, right? Like, the CNCs that I was looking at were really expensive, and this is much cheaper to get started with. And so I got it, played around with it a little bit, and I was just hooked. The reason I do like rustic woodworking is because I am not a fine woodworker at all. I'm very much a blunt object when it comes to things. I do not do precision work. So the ability to take like a computer and make something really intricate and cool, and then translate that over, and it actually looks like it and doesn't look like I hit it with a sledgehammer, was amazing. Yeah. So we went from maybe you need a CNC in your shop to maybe you need a laser in your shop. So that's where the whole laser thing started. I started out with a lot of diode lasers. I reviewed a ton of them, and after a while, that was just you can only say so much about diode lasers. They're all about the same. And then I got a CO2 machine from a company that shall not to be named, and I liked it. It was small. I wasn't a big fan of the company that I received it from. And so I didn't really, it wasn't something I really wanted to like kind of market to
Right.
to my viewers. So I reached out to my laser brethren, and I said, well, okay, let me back up. With the problem with the diode lasers were a lot of them are manufactured in China, and the customer support is just not there.
Right.
So
right.
when I decided to look into a more substantial more substantial CO2, I reached out to my laser brethren and I said, I want something that is made in North America, has good customer support. What the other thing was? There's three things. Customer support, good customer support, made in North America, and I think I just said like solid. Like I didn't want it to
right.
break
easily and
right. I wanted something more commercial, I guess. And hands down, everybody came back with AP Lazer. So I reached out to you guys and said, hey, why don't you guys send me a little tiny laser? And Tong said, no, we're going to send you a really big laser. So I had to make
how he works. Yep.
So I had to make my wife leave her car in the driveway so I could put this massive thing in her parking spot. So now I have a giant laser in the shop, which is really cool. Don't get me wrong, but
it's definitely when you're used to working with smaller machines, and I know a lot of people that I've talked to, they're like, well, I don't know if I can fit something, that big. Right. We do have the smaller machines that you can start with, but
oh yeah,
you'll quickly learn. Oh, I wish I had just this much more space.
Well, that was the thing too. I was making keychains. So I was making something small, like just a little, like a retro hotel keychain type thing. And I went from making those on the diode laser. When I was making them on the diode laser, I was not selling them. But when I was making them on the diode laser, I think one of them was taking me about 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then the small CO2, I think I could do like a half sheet in like 30 minutes. And now with the AP, I think I could do a full sheet in, it's like 45 minutes. So, like one and a half, like
right.
half, like one and a half
right.
times, but twice as much. So even like doing small stuff, you could do it. You could do so many of them fast.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know the array, like doing the arrays and doing multiple things at once too. That's not something a lot of people think about. And I'm like, well, if you're doing this, mass production, you can do it. Technically, you can do it faster on the bigger machine. Just by getting it, letting it run, and then you can work on your other stuff at a desk nearby,
Yeah, and you're not stopping in between, which,
right.
the smaller, the problem is the smaller your unit, every time it gets done, you have to go do something. So if you have a bigger unit, you can run more at one time, then you're not stopping to start it.
Right. Because
I'm very much a squirrel person, so like as soon as if I'm working over here and the laser stops and I turn around to do something over there, then I've lost 15 minutes in the chasing shiny things department.
That is my
Aaron
life.
and I were just going back and forth on our ADHD issue. It's like, hold on, wait, I was doing this.
Well, I go down, I chase that squirrel, I go down that rabbit hole, and I spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes on something and go, wait a minute, what was I doing that got me here? And then I had to remember what I needed to do.
All of a sudden, you're not actually doing work. So it is nice to be able to just kind of leave that there. And then you can do brain off, no thoughts, head empty mode, as I do. And just let it go.
Yeah, I found my productivity works better if I can focus like a chunk of time at a time.
Yeah.
If I try to do too many things at once, I get all scatterbrained. So another benefit of having a big machine is this, as it's running, I can do something else, but I can do something else for a longer period of time.
Yeah,
yeah.
Go ahead.
That's some of the challenges we face are, not just focusing, but being able to load things into the machine. And once you know it, things get pretty easy. Everything comes with its own challenges. We talked about CNC. And I've always told people that CNC machines they're great machines, but it's work that creates a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you're done running your job. Now you got to spend how much time cleaning up your shop and restoring your, cleaning machine, servicing machine, your bits and everything. But
they're loud.
Yeah,
They're
and they're
so
loud. They're
loud.
so loud. Yeah. But
And there's like for me personally, like I was lucky enough in college where I got to work in a big, tech lab, lasers, CNCs, 3D printers, all that cool stuff. But every time I had to go into the CNC room, it was like a nightmare for me because it is so cool, like the things you can do, but it's terrifying. Like how easy it is to mess up on there, and you're using, expensive material a lot of the times, and like we said, the dust that comes off of that is insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, what features of the AP Lazer do you find the most helpful with the stuff you do? Are there any settings or tips or tricks or?
So, like, bed size is key. Just it's so much easier to just put something like a whole piece of material in it. What I found with a lot of the smaller machines is just that I'm constantly having to cut down material. So it's really nice to just be able to drop this in there. Tips and tricks. I just so I guess I can't show it to you. What I did is I have a straight edge in my machine that it just has a couple of magnets on it, and I have it kind of sitting there, and I can just butt material up against it, so I already know that I'm relatively straight. I might still have to kind of fine tune it a little bit, but it's just easier to like sheet, get your laser ready and go than it is to kind of like screw it around on there.
Right.
Just a lot of I do. Well, I think Alicia does too, but like magnets to hold stuff down.
Yeah.
I do a lot of
magnets are key.
I do a lot of marking on there with painter's tape too. So if I'm going to do like a couple sheets of material and I'm going to do my keychains or whatever, I put the first piece of material down there, do like a little corner of painter's tape on either side, just so you can see the corners. And then I know when I put my next piece in there, I'm already ready to go. Like,
Yep.
Once I've got everything lined up, good to go.
That's essentially because doing arrays with when I do smaller stuff, I don't usually do the arrays because don't be like me. It's just I don't feel like it, I guess. But I'll use, I'll put magnets or tape, right, like you said, and just so I can pop the next one in, pop the next one in, pop it in, and I know that's going to be, the space every time.
My son is
1,
really
2, 3
big into
blocks or
3D
another one.
printing.
Yeah.
My son is really big into 3D printing, and he asked me to order him some magnets, and so he can use it for assembly and stuff like that. But I ordered off Amazon. These magnets, they're the neodymium magnets, right? And they're you can get like 200 for $10 tomorrow morning if you want to off Amazon. So just a thought. If you wonder
really
where to get the
nice.
magnets, you can get like 200 at a time, and then they're really strong.
Don't get the thin ones though.
Yeah,
I got
that's
these
important.
thin disc ones because I thought that they would like clear the laser better, and those things, like if they hit something too hard, they'll shatter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So get the thicker, more substantial.
Five. They make them 5 millimeter thick and stuff. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like one of the biggest tips, and I know like at LaserCon I was talking to people about this, like pretty much everything that if I know that I'm going to be cutting a project, I lift that, whether it's wood or acrylic or whatever, I lift that off the bed. And my go-to thing to do that is the magnets. So I can put those down, and then I can put another magnet on top of the material so I know where that is, so I don't cut into the magnet potentially,
Right.
So,
And that's what, I think you were talking about it there. Like you get that flashback on the back of the material, and people a lot of times think their settings are wrong because they think they're burning it. I'm like, no, it's flashing back off the honeycomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, that's just one of the things that comes with lasers in general now. I know a lot of people with other types of machines have the same thing, but you got to find those little things to make it better until the technology gets to where it needs to be.
And the one thing,
Right.
good thing about, especially on our larger machines, on our Z table, is not only is the whole Z table removable, but the honeycomb on top is also removable to
Right.
reveal a cutting bed with different
Yep.
slats that you can position to elevate and get,
Which I've just
and
recently
reduce
started
that
using
movement.
again, and when I'm cutting things, I'm like, oh, well, this was probably easier.
Maybe. But
Yeah, because you don't get the flashback at all with that. You might burn
Yeah,
the
it's a-
edges if you're still honing in your settings, as I do a lot myself, but there's no
But
flashback
at
if
least
you're
you
just
can roll
using
something
those.
out.
Yeah. Then you know what your issue is. It's user error on that
Hey.
point.
sorry to interrupt you real quick. So, Carol Hartramp on the chat just asked, "What is CNC?" And
Oh, yeah.
Carol, that's a good question. If you don't know what we're talking about, CNC, I'll keep it in a simple explanation, is basically it uses coordinates to do design, whether it be a wood, CNC wood carving machine or a CNC laser. It uses X, Y, and Z coordinates, and sometimes that I can go into a bunch of other things, but it uses coordinates for absolute design and shaping, how it does its work. So remember in school when your math teacher said, when you always ask your math teacher, when am I ever going to use this stuff in the real world? Well, we're going to start here with the laser. So,
I do forget about that it's more of a blanket term, because technically, yeah, these are CNC machines. Well,
Yes.
that's just like,
Right.
when I think of CAD design, technically I'm a CAD designer, right? Because I'm using my computer to design things for the laser. So,
yes. So in short, it's according to Ben Nichols says computer numeric control is
There
what it
you go.
stands for.
There you go.
But it's basically it's using plots or grids or which sometimes you'll hear the term G code and you'll hear
Yeah.
other things, but it's mostly just coordinates telling it what to do, when to do, and how to do it. And
Right.
but in short, that's the answer. So just think X, Y, and Z for a simplest answer, and that'll kind of give you an idea of what we're doing with a CNC machine.
Right, but-
or a CNC laser.
Generally when people are talking about CNCs, we're talking about the big, crazy routers. So they're got like
Right.
drill bits on them
Yeah.
that are spinning super fast. You tell it where to go, and it can do all kinds of crazy things. There's so many different types of them out there too. I mean, you can get up to 5th axis, I think they have now, which is like on a robot arm, and it can spin all kinds of crazy ways. But again, that gets into such a scary territory for someone like me who does this as, small business hobby type of thing. Lasers are much more friendly
so-
in that way.
Yeah, the CNC is what I'm talking about. Or I mean the router CNC is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Right.
About being loud, because
Yes.
it's a bit like, imagine how loud a router is anyway, and then it's traveling around.
Yeah.
I saw a really cool application for like that kind of CNC type or that 3-axis deal at ISA this year. They were 3D printing, but not like most 3D printers you see are tall and kind of skinny. This was like really wide and short, and what they would do is they could print up to like a 3-inch tall letter.
Oh my gosh.
So they were printing individual letters for a sign. Yeah, it was really cool because it's
That
like,
is
you
sweet.
could print you could print a 3D letter that was open on the back. If you wanted to have lights sticking out of it, you could not 3D print into the holes or whatever, or 3D print them so you could put holes in it. It was pretty neat. I started asking them about applications other than, and they had no idea what like an ender, like the other, the hobbyist 3D. They're like, what are you talking about? They make tall ones? I'm like, yeah, they make tall ones that are not nearly as, this thing was probably, 2x2, 3x3 probably. And yeah, it was pretty cool.
It is really,
cool
and I
machine.
love ISA, and I'm so glad that we're going back there because there's so much new technology that is shown there that you don't even think like, wow, I didn't even know that was possible. And even like with the lasers that are coming out now, with everything is advancing to a place where it's like you couldn't even imagine this 5-10 years ago as a thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
I know fibers are popping off really hard right now. Those were
Fibers are going crazy.
originally, those are just in factories. You couldn't get your hands on something like that commercially, but now it's like you can have a little fiber in your studio And you can make, all of a sudden you can make all these crazy things with it.
Well, coming back
Oh.
to the AP Laser a little bit, want to kind of switch gears and ask more about what you're doing with it. How has having an AP Laser influenced what's your channel and your content? And do you feel like it's added a new dimension? And is there any big project, or what's one project you haven't tackled yet that you're really wanting to get into trying to do?
So, let's see. AP Laser, having that big machine had some unexpected, I guess, consequences, if you will. What I realized is that a lot of my audience were hobbyists, and they were like, well, that's a commercial machine. And so I'm like, okay, here's the deal. Like, either you're a hobbyist and you just want to do this for fun,
Right.
and that's fine. But with COVID and everything, my understanding is a lot of people picked up a laser because they wanted to like start like a side hustle or like an at-home business. So I have these people like, well, like I bought a $1,000 diode, but like you're talking about thousands of dollars for this bigger machine, and it's kind of like, well, we need to talk about scaling a business.
Exactly.
Because having a small diode laser is fine if you want to make things slowly, but time is money. And so if you can make those faster and you can make more of those things, you can make more money. So if you started this as a side hustle, you want to make it like your main hustle, you're going to eventually have to scale up. So it's kind of taken, especially with LaserCon and stuff like that, it's kind of taken my channel and starting in a new direction where I want to talk less about like the individual projects and more about like how you can like fully develop your business with a laser, and have a laser business that pays the bills, or if you just want as a side hustle, how to utilize your time so you still have family time and things like that.
Right.
And I wasn't really expecting that at first, so but I kind of like the direction of that one. I'd rather make people money. So
yeah, exactly. And I know like you gave we were lucky enough to have you at LaserCon to give a talk of your own. Was there anything you'd like to touch on from there as well?
Well, we talked more. We talked a little bit more about growing your business on social media, and the thing is, like, social media is just the new advertising. I don't know if you guys. So we had Hulu, and we hated the ads, so we went ahead and started Hulu with no ads, right? And then I got this thing saying, hey, instead of by the month, you can pay by the year for Hulu. So I paid by the year, not realizing it's going to bring ads back. So now we have ads again. And advertising on television is horrible because they don't put any money.
60%. It's 6% medical prescription drugs.
Yeah. And I'm like, how many people have this illness? Because I never heard of it. And you're telling me about a drug addict.
Right.
And the thing is, like, your advertising is social media now, and we've gone from selling product to selling experiences because people want to feel like they're part of the team. They want to feel like they were there for the creation of it. I told a story at LaserCon about a buddy of mine who asked me to redo a table for his. Did I tell a story? Maybe I didn't.
You tell it now.
He wanted me to redo. He wanted me to redo a table for his living room, or his dining room, and it's basically like kind of his drinking buddies table. So like guys will come over there and they'll play cards and do whatever on this table, and he wanted me to kind of do whatever I wanted with it. But his thing was more about, he wanted me to stop and take pictures of the progress along the way, and he definitely wanted me to film the whole thing and all that. And his thing was, he's like, I've told all my stories. I've told all my stories 50 times over. So he's like, when you're looking for good conversation, you need a conversation piece. So I could go buy this table But if I have you make it and somebody asked about it, I have the story to tell. So he was much more invested in the process than actually even the end product.
Yeah.
So his thing was, I could tell him my buddy made this table. They can watch the video if they want. He wanted the pictures because he wanted to have them framed on the wall of the process of them being built.
That's really
cool. And I'm like, that's what people want now, you know? I mean, if you want shelves that don't have any meaning to them, you go to IKEA, right? If you want a cool shelf set, you have somebody make it for you.
Yeah. And I know, especially, I know Tong has touched on this, in some of his speeches as well, but like, the generation, like, especially for me, I mean, I'm technically Gen Z. I kind of border in between Gen Z and millennial, but, I have a lot of that Gen Z heart in me, and a lot of the weirdness that goes with it. But, I am very much more focused on experiencing things in life. I'm worried less about cost, and if it's something that I know that I'm going to enjoy and I'm going to remember forever, and that I can talk with people about and inspire them, I'm willing to, put out the money for that type of thing, and if I can get like my good friend especially, or like a family member or just somebody who I'm really inspired by to make me something special, I'm going to shell out the money for that, and it's something that I'm going to treasure for the rest of my life,
Right, and it's got a story behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, other than made in China.
Yeah. I got plenty of that. I want some unique pieces in my life.
So, real quick, in the chat here, and I'm glad we have you on for this interview today, because I feel like you're in a unique position, more unique than most, to be able to answer this question, because you've I shouldn't say dealt with, your followers are, from hobbyists to entrepreneurs type thing. But Michael Apple asked, what is a good machine for a beginner? Difference between fiber laser and CO2, like to engrave granite, brick, wood, and acrylic. And what would your thoughts or advice be to somebody like a Michael Apple that's really looking to get into some of these projects like this?
So you're probably like, if you're wanting to do stone and stuff like that, you're probably wanting to look at a CO2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, diodes will do it, but it'll take forever. And acrylics, diodes only see certain colors of acrylic. So the clearer you get, the more close you get to white, you can't. It just won't cut it. It just doesn't see it. It'll pass right through. But as far as CO2s, what's the small AP?
The 1812.
It's 1812 and the 2616 too. So 2616 is
so
if you're gonna be doing bricks and stuff, you're gonna want a little bit more power than a 40 watt tube that can almost be considered a consumable item. So
yeah. So what I would say is whatever size laser you're looking at, just buy the next one up. Because
we just recently, someone in our group posted, there's like, oh, I just bought the 2616, but now I'm wishing I got the 28.6, and it's like, if you have it in your budget, it's definitely worth, going up. But we do also, offer trade in, trade up and all that as you expand your business, which is nice. But
well, you guys recently partnered up with a firm too, right?
Yeah, that's a really exciting partnership.
Firm's a good deal, man. That's a good deal.
Yeah, so we have a lot of other financing options too. So it's like, as you're starting your business, you don't have to have all of the money for that right now.
Well, I know we've had many customers who have started with a smaller machine and then decided to upgrade and made a deal, because we have a trade-in, trade-up program where, like, hey, I want to get this bigger machine, so can you send me this new machine, and then I'll send the other one back. And many of our customers just wind up keeping both machines. They're like, hey, I can make both these work, so they just wind up adding another machine to their shop, if you will. So
I've always said, man, if I could have, I don't do a whole lot of tumblers, but tumblers are big business.
Yep.
If I could have a machine that was just dedicated to tumblers that I never had to mess with, I would absolutely invest in that. So even just like
Yeah.
having a smaller deal that I could just have tumblers going in, because I mean I don't know if these guys have seen or have you guys released the multi-tumbler deal?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
We're real close. We're real close.
Yeah,
It's-
that's
Anyway, but
exciting.
The ability to do multiple tumblers is nice, but just
Yeah.
the resetting of the machine every time to go back and forth makes it hard for what I do to do tumblers too, because you got to lower it, you got to plug your rotary in and stuff like that. It's just time consuming. If I
Yeah.
could have a machine that just always had the rotary going in it, 100%. So I would say if you get a small machine and you decide to upgrade, keep that little one and just drop it and put the rotary in it and just run those as one-offs or whatever.
Yeah, tumblers. I mean, everybody wants a custom tumbler, especially, when we're going through the Stanley craze and things like that. People are always looking to have something crazy done on their Stanleys to make it, that much more special for them.
Stanley's. The bane
Hey.
of my existence.
Yes.
I'm a basic white girl, and I understand the craze. I can't force myself to dish out the money for them, but if I had one, I would be happy.
There you go. Uh-oh.
Not a Stanley. Doesn't leak. Sorry.
But I mean,
Just
tumblers in
Stanley's
general, they're just
Oh, yeah.
they're super
well,
popular. And just throw a name on there. It takes like maybe 5 minutes, maybe, and then
Yeah,
all of a sudden they
especially
have this
holidays.
piece.
And
Yeah,
at the holidays, I always get at least 1 or 2 requests for, because I don't really, I don't sell those, but I'll get,
Yeah.
people that I know will ask if I can run, a thing of tumblers for them.
Yeah.
And so it's always like the relearning process. That's the reason I'm like, if I just had a machine that was dedicated to that, like if AP Lazer just made a tumbler machine. But,
That's actually-
if
yeah.
I just had something that was like set up all the time and I have to mess with it, perfect.
yeah. Well, and I know too, with fiber technology advancing too, that's even a quicker way to do tumblers now too.
Well, there's a lot of things coming down the line. We're gonna have fiber. We have fiber. We're gonna be really pushing new fiber models. We're gonna have some new
Those fiber
rotary
models are a
accessories. We're gonna have everything from multiple tumbler rotaries to base plates for rotaries and stuff. We're working on a lot of things right now. That's gonna be really just we're constantly evolving and advancing our products and products available to support our family members in their business.
I know too, like at LaserCon, we got to debut a sneak peek of the the R&D process for a new cutting machine, and that's really fun.
Yes, there's a lot of big products coming down for our family members here at AP Lazer. Stuff to look forward to. Nick, Vespa, certainly we thank you for joining us today. You are you're a wealth of knowledge that it's really hard to summarize and contain into 45 minutes or 35 minutes. We make sure you find Nick on his YouTube channel. It's Build Dad Builds on YouTube.
You also have Instagram and things like that too, right?
Yes.
And TikTok and all the things, yep.
There you go.
Yes, find him
And
on
he
all
is
the
fun to
social
follow
medias
on
and-
Instagram. He posts a lot of good, funny content as well as just good information.
Yeah, Instagram's probably the easiest way to reach out to me too. So I'm on there for the jokes. No, I'm on there. That's kind of my go-to for DMs and stuff.
Yeah.
Memes. No.
Memes.
But Nick, thank you for joining us today. It was real exciting.
Absolutely.
A lot of good information. We'd love to have you back on sometime. Thank you, everyone else, for
Anytime.
joining us. Even Frank joined us.
Yay!
There's a lot of things you can call Frank. He may be late to our podcast, to our AP Lazer Live, but I promise you he'll never be late to supper. He's got really good information as well. He's one of the ones that had an 1812, upgraded to 2616, and decided to keep both. And he does a lot of good things as well, and he's a great AP Lazer family member. Make sure you find, like I said, reach out, like our video, find Nick on his Build Dad Build social medias, not just
There you go.
YouTube. He's on all the socials,
There you
right?
go.
So find him. If
Yep.
you find a social he's not on, find him on Instagram and send him a message and say, hey, you need to get on this social too. So
I'm even on Threads.
Oh my
Threads.
gosh, yeah,
Wow.
that's
Threads.
you're on everything if you're on Threads.
So when you're on Threads,
Right.
do you wear your waders or it's swampy over there sometimes. Anyways.
I can't say I check it very often, but I'm
Right. But thank you, everyone, for joining us again. And Nick, we'll see you next time when we have you on.
100%.
And,
Sure.
Look forward for our next live, probably about a month or so. Look forward to seeing you there.
Bye.
Bye.